Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm your host Matt, and with me this week is our pro gamer Mike.
Yo, what's good? See how I hit that high note? You hear that?
Nice.
American Idol, here I come.
Yeah. And our retro aficionado Unoclay.
From my heart and from my hand, why don't people understand my intention?
Let's go, bro. Is that 80s, 90s club freestyle? Damn.
I'm busting the weird science for the weird scientific type game we have to talk about this week, or I think it's science. I was thinking earlier, I was like, wait, is that game, the big game of the week to talk about a science?
Sure,
game?
Why not?
I'm not clear on the lore of a certain series that much to understand if it's science or magic or what, so you can tell me later.
All right.
But, hey guys, I missed you. I've been away for a while because you guys are all like talking to Eli, my arch nemesis.
Behind your back.
Yeah. I know. I know what he's saying about me. He's like, his game choices should have won the tournament. He has great taste, and why didn't anybody vote for Super Metroid but Clay? And all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Super Metroid, also known as hot garbage.
Oh my
Oh,
listeners,
words.
dealing with.
That game is so bad. Oh, God.
OMG, Mike, once again, you can't predict Mike's taste in games. He's like,
The game is trash. Okay, I like wasted my time playing through that whole thing, and I was like, man, this shit sucks. Okay, like at least if you're gonna mention a good 2D Metroid, you could just say Fusion. Okay, but I mean,
listeners, I apologize on behalf of all Nintendo fans.
I don't get how people like that game. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Well, exchange the word Super Metroid for Diablo 3, and we totally agree about everything.
Mike, didn't you play
trash,
Samus
but
Returns on the 3DS?
Yeah, he liked it too. You said he liked Samus Returns on 3DS.
No, I said that game's all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The best ASMR Adventures of Samus Metroid Returns, okay, is that remake that got shut down by Nintendo when it was made in Fusion/Zero Mission graphics and game style. All right. And I'm not just saying that because all those games are inferior to Metroid Prime 1, but Fusion's still better than any other crap droid out there.
I can't even fathom that logic because I played most of the remake of Samus 2, whatever, Metroid Returns Game Boy remake, the official one, not the shutdown one, and like
the official one's alright.
It was fine, but I found it boring. But it's
Metroid
not.
2's boring, man. That's like I mean I played it. I played the OG for like 3 seconds because I was like, I should play it. Then I played that fan one that got shut down. I was like, yo, this is pretty cool. Like, and then I played on the 3DS, and I was just like, I mean, I felt like they were just trying to do something different with the gameplay, but at the same time, it was just like, dude, I mean, okay, Samus Metroid games, like in themselves, are kind of like, I feel like, in my opinion, it's like half about the discovery and like 3/4 about like powering up and then rediscovering. You get what I'm saying? Even though that's 125%. Like, it's just like, I felt in Metroid 2 that doesn't exist because it's literally the same land and there's all you do is hunt Metroids. And it's just like, all right, here's Metroid boss. Here's Metroid leveled up boss.
Sort of agree.
Metroid third.
I almost agree with what you're saying, and that's almost my like shock when you say you didn't like Super Metroid. Super Metroid, like, I mean, if you didn't play it back in the day, it loses something, I guess, because I mean the formula has been imitated by every game ever since. But anyway, we'll have to have another tournament where it's like.
Well, I mean, for me, Super Metroid was my third Metroid game. So, well,
Yeah.
technically fourth. Well, fifth. Yeah, I played Fusion was my first one ever. Yeah, I got Fusion and Prime because they came out together. I got them, and I like grinded the crap out of Fusion. Then I got Prime. Then Prime Dose. Then I got Zero Mission. Then I got Then I played Super Metroid, and I was like, this game stinks.
But I mean, that's a crazy opinion. But you know what's crazy? You'll think is that I've actually never played Zero Mission, which I know is an amazing remake. I just have never played it yet. I'm such a huge fan of OG NES Metroid, like one of my top games of all time. I think I put it in the tournament, or I forget if I did. But but it literally is one of my favorite games of all time. And it's funny because I've just never played that remake because I'm always kind of like, why remake it? It's perfect. I I just never got around to it yet. One of these days. I hear Zero Mission is the shiz, so I'll play it someday.
So
Nah.
yeah.
What's up?
So we'll move on to what I've been playing. I didn't even finish beating Spyro yet. I've been like chewing away at that slowly. I finally got all the stinking characters in classic mode on Smash Brothers, for crying out loud. That took forever. But I've decided to play something else in the meantime. So I've been playing the Spider-Man DLC, which I've had my eye on for a while, but other stuff has come up, so I kind of put it on the back burner. And there's actually 3 parts to it if you get the season pass. So they have 3, I guess, separate, smaller stories, but they all connect. They all have one giant arc, like they're all involved. And I've only finished 2 of them so far, but they're all right, I guess. They're fairly short, and they kind of pad it out with different missions you can do, like stop random criminals in the street, or certain challenges that are kind of just rehashes of other ones. Some of them are fine, some of them are more annoying. It's nice to see like Black Cat come back because they were teasing her in the game, pretty much teasing her for DLC anyway. I don't know, it doesn't really stand out all that crazy, and it seems short to me, although I don't really have a good barometer for how long like DLC content, like story content, should actually be, because I haven't really played it before. I don't even think I own that many games that have it, like maybe Dishonored 2 and Mass Effect, but I returned that, so I don't know.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild.
But oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Every time I look at the Spider-Man DLC, I'm always like, this seems kind of short. It wasn't like 2 hours, 3 hours, like overall or something like that.
Yeah, I think you can probably beat the main missions in a few hours. Probably like, I don't know, because usually play like the other missions in between while you're doing other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's what makes
So,
Spider-Man such a great game. It's
yeah.
always like, you're on your way to do your main mission. You're like, well, there's 3 side missions over here, and you're like, I do want a new suit, kind of thing. Like, it just was like so seamless, like to play the side missions as well.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I look at that DLC, like Phil really liked it. He got all of it, but it always felt like it never added more to the campaign, and it was like, it just kind of felt like, oh, here's some stuff we have. I was like, it wasn't like, oh man, I need to know more answers, or like what happened with Silver Sable or Black Cat. Like, it never like, I mean, yeah, they teased it, but it never felt like I needed to know. You know what I mean? It just kind of felt like, oh, well, like here's more of the game. Like all right. But like that's the good thing about the game, though. You could buy the game, have the DLC, and be completely, you know what I mean, like completely content with the game. Like that's how I was. I mean, I got my platinum. I was like, bro, I wanted the DLC because of how much I liked the game. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, the DLC is gonna help make the game better. It just, the game was so good. The DLC is like, I just want to help. You know?
Yeah, it's a perfect way to sum it up. To me, it's an excuse to just be playing the game and have something else to do it. Play the game again, because I just like the game and how it feels. Crap, I forget. You said something I wanted to touch on. I can't even remember.
I was talking about, I said how it didn't add more to the game, how it basically, how it I don't want to say the game didn't build off the DLC. Like, the game was just so good that I just wanted that support by getting the DLC. You know what I mean? Like, the game was just, it's good. It's so good on its own. Like, the DLC is not as required. And it's not like they hid anything from the story. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh man, I used to know this. Like, you know what I mean? Nothing like, you don't feel cheesed out.
Mm-hmm.
It was good you supported them, because they were probably hurting for money. So it was very nice.
With their 10 million
Insomniac
copies.
and Sony were like, we have no money, man.
10 million copies doesn't keep the doors open. We need your help, guys.
These days, that's not too far off. There's times when you hear those stories where like a studio considers something a failure when it sells like 3 million copies.
They're like,
yeah,
I forget, it was like Tomb Raider sold 5 million or 3 million or something. Like, it was below expectations. It's like, you're insane.
Yeah. The amount of money. I mean,
that's what we're talking about. Square Enix, okay?
Course,
Guys, come on. That's not Sony.
No, but yeah, I don't know. I still have the last DLC hack or whatever you want to call it left. But I don't know. The story doesn't seem something that, like you said, that I really need to know or got like really involved in. Like when I heard they were gonna do this DLC content and it's gonna kind of wrap around like Silver Sable and Sable Tech and all that, I'm like, that was the least interesting part of the game. Like I could not care about them because they didn't really do much to make it interesting. It's like they sell weapons and this woman hates Spider-Man because I guess he gets in her way. And that's bad.
Spider-Man, get out of my damn way.
I don't know.
And I was like, yo, I'm walking here.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, yo, I'm Peter Pan. I'm walking over here, bro. All right? That's exactly how the DLC goes.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to play this game, but I'm just waiting for the Swift announcement. You know.
Yeah.
You know, the Sony exclusive.
Sony and Nintendo partnering up. Yeah, totally. Like, I'd like to play it. It sounds fun. I look forward to it.
One day, but I really like this.
Hey,
go on.
Sorry, I was gonna say, hey, with all the Microsoft like Switch, Nintendo Switch, Microsoft crossover rumors that are flying around, like you never know. Like 2 years ago, 3 years ago,
we're getting rare replay. Okay, with that bad Xbox, since they're giving us stuff. Here's what's gonna happen. All right, Matt, do you have the games that are officially announced?
There's nothing officially announced.
There's nothing official.
Well, no, I thought Ori and the Blind Forest. And,
no,
Cuphead.
They're all still rumors.
Oh, okay.
There's something Cuphead, happening in March.
You got to get Cuphead. You got to get Cuphead, man.
I would. I've played it at my friend's house. I like it. Like I played a few minutes of it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Like it seems cool. I've heard it's short.
I know we're supposed to talk about what we're gonna play, and we already just mentioned a little bit of news. But look, let me just give you guys the future timeline. So Xbox is gonna be like, man, we are trash with Rare. So here you go, Nintendo, and they give us Rare Replay, and everyone's like, yo, this Rare Replay is pretty sick. Okay, and then they go, like, yo, Nintendo, please take Battletoads and Banjo-Kazooie back, and we're like, all right, sure. And while Clay cries for Perfect Dark, Mike enjoys Banjo 3 and Battletoads 3E. I don't know. I can't. No title. Pending title. Okay. And I make sure everything that I want is given to me. The end.
Future.
And then Banjo for Smash.
Oh, that was perfect. All right, well, there's our podcast from 3 years from now when all that happens.
Yeah. When you guys look back and you're like, "Holy shit! Wow, this guy even got the titles right."
He called like nothing. It was amazing how he got nothing right. It was so great. All right.
Well, that's the news, guys. All right, now we're just gonna go all the.
Let me help you back, Matt. Matt, what else have you been playing this week?
That was pretty much it. Yep. I really like the costumes and all the DLC. They had some cool stuff. So they're actually some of the better costumes than in the game. But
costumes.
It's so good. They make half the game. Well, they don't make half the game, but it's like one of the best parts.
I never find that stuff appealing, but I'm always bemused by it. Like, but I can tell it's popular because it's like how Fortnite funded itself. You know, it's like, to me, I'm always like, what do you care? Like, my friends all want to change their skins when we play Smash, and I always like, I'd say 80-90% of the time play the vanilla skin, like of like whatever the character is. I don't know why. I'm just like ornery like that or something. I don't totally get it. I don't get costumes or whatever. I mean, like, sure, I find Naked Shulk funny, but after the joke's been made 3,000 times, I'm like,
wait, that's the Shulk I actually legitimately play though. Like, I like that one. By the way,
like everybody else.
Clay, by the way, everyone goes, he actually likes Naked Shulk, and I'm like, well, okay, but on the real note, nobody in professional Smash likes Naked Shulk either. That's a joke. It's just like nobody plays Naked Shulk Smash, and then I'm always like, yo, to Phil and Joey, I'm like, all right, when we pick Shulk, they're like, gotta be Naked Shulk. Yeah, I wonder about Mike sometimes, and I'm like, guys, I just like the costume. Okay? But yeah, dude, I can't be. I don't get how you can only play vanilla. Like, I can't play Breath of the Stink Ash Link. All right, if I see that, I'm gonna throw up on screen. I have to pick the fake looking, at least regular Link. You know what I mean? Like, it's risky, man. I can't be doing that. But like for some characters, like I think there's some bad costumes, but like yo, you can't play without your costume. I think in Smash that's like more important than anything else. Like you gotta find what color you're comfortable with, and then like you can't play off that. Like I can't play not Gold Roy. I can't play Tuxedo Mario or Mario Maker Mario. Like the cap is different. So I'm like, I can't get I can't get like the iframes on the up smash like correct. And like it just does not work. Okay, it's because the costume is wrong.
Well, I guess my Smash costume is clearly vanilla for every character. It just so happens.
See, I mean, if you pick a not vanilla thing, then it mess you up. You'll feel different. I'm telling you.
It kind of does. It kind of does, but that's because like I never change it. Yeah, I guess it does. I mean, I'm like,
yeah, it's like that mental stigma, man. Like it just doesn't.
Sometimes you just don't see your character though. If you're like the wrong color Yoshi, especially or something like that, it's like you're just not. I don't see the character the right way. I guess, especially when the camera's zoomed out or whatever. You know, it's like I need to see it. You know, so I hear what you're saying. I guess. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. Naked Shulk for president. All right.
You can choke all day, even though I don't even like Xenoblade Chronicles.
But Mike, what have you been playing? Matt, tell him the question.
Yeah,
Matt,
what he said.
I can't listen to this Clay guy asking me. That's blasphemy. That's your question.
Mike, what have you been playing?
Don't worry, guys. I have been playing Smash. All right. I talked about the Yoshi demo last time, and then I never went back to the Damon X Machina.
I played like the other one, but I didn't really finish it.
I played 3 seconds of Tetris. I forgot how much I hated it.
I downloaded it.
Yeah, I downloaded it. I
got.
finally played it last night at 4 a.m.
Oh my god!
I couldn't sleep, and I was like, maybe this game will put me to sleep. And then I played it. I got 69. Nice, 69th place. But I was like, bro, this game sucks. And I was like, oh yeah, it's Tetris. Tetris blows ass. And I immediately deleted it. Right?
I apologize to all the listeners on behalf of everyone on this podcast. I was playing that a little bit when it came out. Like I like it. It's I mean,
no, that
really,
game is
really,
cool. That game is definitely cool. I've seen some real good people play it.
It's
like,
really basic. It's really basic.
But, like,
I mean, I wish there was more to it. You know?
No, dude. When you do, like, you could kill people who are like in near last place, and then like send them stuff to kind of eliminate. I think it's pretty cool. Like I've only watched really like Omega professional geniuses play it, so I'm like, wow, that's amazing. You know what I mean?
Can
like,
you
it'll be like super fast?
Can you let me ask you that, because I've played it and I don't know if I understand all the features entirely. I've gotten third place. Dusts the dandruff off my shoulders, but like
that's pretty good, man. Yo, trust me, that's amazing in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean I get like top 20 a lot. Like I've been playing Tetris since the day it dropped, like for real on like computer.
On the Game Boy?
No, I played it even before that on computers because it was like on.
Okay. I have the Game Boy OG Tetris.
Hell yeah, dude! I mean, like that wore out legions of Game Boys. Like that literally wore out Game Boys. That game alone. Like a lot of people, that was like having Zelda for Switch. It's like all you got for like a year. You just played the Tetris. But I have a question. You said you can like. I mean, you're attacking people, but it's passive, right? You don't have any control over who you attack. Like
I heard you can choose. That's what I've heard. I don't I just don't understand. I'm not the right guy to ask.
Yeah,
okay.
I brought it up before.
But at the same time, I also hear it always targets who's about to get eliminated. That's what I've also heard, like near the bottom.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's one of those two, but it's like I'm not entirely.
I remember Eli brought it up. I think there's. I don't know if you can choose like one out of specifically the other 99 players or whatever, but I think there's some way to target like some specific, no, maybe not specific, but some type of person, but it probably just defaults to like the person doing the worst.
I have to look into it because like you're so busy playing, it's hard to like really like concentrate on anything else to be like, oh, what you're gonna do, and it's like those other options that you can control with the other stick. I just don't understand really.
I'm looking at someone playing it. And it shows like there's 4 different things you can go for, knockouts. So I'm guessing ones that are about to die.
Wait,
randoms, badges, and attackers.
Oh.
So it looks like you can attack. Yeah, like I thought a group of people.
I have to say, as someone who's played it a bunch, it's so obvious, but yet not so obvious. So all you do is you have the HUD there, and you can pick 4 different settings. But I thought all that did was show you other stuff. Like it didn't actively control the game. I thought it was like showing you who's attacking or showing you something to do with badges. I didn't, because there is literally that I could see no FAQ in the game. Like you just like log in and start playing. There's
yeah,
no,
you
like,
just play. You just play.
You know.
I think they have you have to go in the home menu to see like the stupid like,
Okay.
kind of things.
So what
I
are
always forget
badges?
that the manuals are now are like home settings and it's like other information and sometimes they give you the info of the game.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, I can't wait to go play it later because like I didn't understand I could like go for kills or whatever, you know, to like be because I slam. I'm a slammer when I play. I go for like setting up humongous towers and then just like dropping line after line. Like, and this one has the hold box where you can hold a piece while you're like your best piece you can toss in there or whatever you want to save, and then you know wait for a slam. And that's how you kill people bad when you play co-op Tetris, as everyone knows. But anyway, Mike, I interrupted you. That's awesome.
No,
So you-
no, it's cool. It's cool. I'm almost at the end of Iconoclast. Like I said, I can't stand that game. I don't like Metroidvanias that aren't Metroid. So, but I mean, there's supposed to be some sort of, I guess, religious conflict in the game. I mean, the story's just, it is somewhat interesting, but the characters have no life to them, so I just don't care. You know, like I literally do not care. The game's alright. I mean, it was free PS Plus thing, so I know I'm at the end though, because like. It's got that end gamey vibe, you know what I mean? Or it's just like, oh, okay, well, everyone's talking about the world's about to end, so I mean, that might be the end. And then besides Smash, some O-dubs. I was playing Apex Legends. I have been it's probably the only BR game I really like. However, like me liking it means I like it for a week, hate it for a week, like it for a week. So like I can't play BRs for too long. I just think it's just too unfun. Like to consistently play. Like I do get dubs, I win, but it's just like I just can't do it all the time. I don't know how people are are addicted to this kind of mode where I just think it's slow and boring in my opinion. I'm always looking for a fight too. You know what I mean? So it's just like it's not like I'm like, oh man, I want to get top 5 and I'll cheese out. Like I'll drop it and I'll die immediately. I'm like, all right, whatever. Like I'll keep it going. But there's so much that I could keep going. Like you win and you don't win anything. You know what I mean? For me, I need a reward.
Yeah, there's no satisfaction.
Yeah, it's like, all right, you win. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm mad hype. And then it's just like, all right, well, go again. And it's like, oh, that's it? You know? Like, there's no, like, oh, walk around with, gold doubloons. I was like, hell yeah. But, I finished all the new Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. I didn't do any Super Luigi U or the challenges. I just, 100% of the campaign mode. That's all on my YouTube. They're all like I did every world in 1 hour, so technically I beat the game in 8 hours. So, yeah, if you need to know where the coins are, or just hear me rage, it's funny. Really funny story actually. So I just put up Superstar Road yesterday, and it did pretty well. And I was like, it took me 57 minutes to beat it on recording. I turned off my Switch. I went home. I went out. Then I came back at night, and I was like, all right. Let me turn on my thing. It said I had 1 star. When you beat the game, you get stars for doing. In every new Mario game, you get stars on your save profile as you unlock more of the stuff. So I'm like, what the heck? Why is this 1 star? So I go. I turned on my Switch, and it said I never saved. So I was back at the point where I missed 3 levels and I didn't complete Superstar Road. I was like, all right, let me lie down. I was like, what? It took me an hour to do it on recording. It took me legitimately 32 minutes to beat all of that without recording. And I'm like, why couldn't this be the recorded run? Okay, I legitimately did not die, but I was like, it did always happen. I was watching an old series of me and Phil, and Phil's like, why am I playing so bad? And I'm like, man, the curse of recording is so legitimate, it's crazy. Okay, like there's something about when you record something and there's you want to also be entertaining. There's a little bit I guess I don't want to say pressure, but there's a little stigma behind there, and it was really funny. I was just laughing. I was like, holy shit, dude! I literally ran through every single level without any deaths, and then I'm looking back at my Superstar my recorded one on YouTube, and I died 3 times 20 minutes in. I'm like, this is trash. Okay, so I had to be mad for a whole 5 hours of sleep.
That's rough. Yeah, it's always when you're not trying is when you do the best.
Yeah. Or
it's you come back later, you're like, man, all right, whatever. I guess I'll just give it a shot, and you beat it with no problem. You're like, what?
Yeah.
What the heck happened to all that other
and
time?
You're sweating on the other one.
Yeah.
Runs and, oh man, I need to win.
Yeah.
So I had to be sad.
You had to be sad.
Poor Mike.
This guy. Awesome.
Alright. So, Unoclay, what have you been playing since
There's
Ralph
Matt.
checked in you?
There's Matt. There's Matt with his question. I finished Resident Evil Revelations 2 on just the regular campaign mode. I've been playing around with the raid mode, which is, for those who don't play it or haven't played it, it's more like an action, game version of our not a survival horror style Resident Evil. It's like you're literally have a lot more ammo than normal, and you're like rushing through levels, like killing off everything and earning badges and upgrading your character, and you can play online. I haven't been playing online. I've just been playing it kind of see if I like it. It is actually kind of entertaining, because after you play a whole game of Resident Evil for like 15-20 hours and you're used to the whole thing where you can't use your bullets and you got to really conserve everything, it's that like whole release valve of like, now I can like just shoot everything, as much as I want, and like kind of be OP compared to the normal game, and it ramps up a lot slower. So I've been messing with that. But I guess the thing I'd report on for this week that I've been playing, and the most significant thing to note for Switch and Nintendo players, would be one of the games I got for Christmas from my wife. She had picked up a copy of Payday 2, which is, a game that was out for other systems a while back, but got ported to Switch a little while ago. I was curious about it, not enough to buy it myself, but enough to put it on a Christmas list. So she got that for me, and I popped it in and started playing it recently, and it's okay. It's dated. For those who aren't familiar with it, which I wasn't super, I'd watched a couple videos. It's pretty much like a first-person shooter game, with a little bit of like character development aspect, a little bit of inventory management type stuff, but mostly the parts I've done so far. I mean, the basic concept is you're criminals. So imagine like if GTA was like a shooter, and you're first-person shooter, and you're just really violent criminals. You're breaking into banks and killing hostages and like
so how
murdering
normal
police.
people play GTA.
Yeah, totally. It's a little more like it tries to have some sophistication, and I haven't played it enough to really comment on it. You're supposed to do stealth if you can in some missions. The game, I guess I'm just kind of speaking all over the place here. The game is meant to be primarily played online. It is not a single player offline game in any significant way. You can play it that way with AI as your partners, but they're really stupid and it's really boring. And you can tell right away, like, you're supposed to play this with friends is the optimal way to play it, like with a team where you work together and talk on Skype or something, and like work together to do the missions. And that's why I'm hesitant to give it a real review, because no one else I know owns it for Switch. And so I'm playing with randos, which the servers are not exactly littered with people at this point. It's an older game and it's on Switch. There's games when I want to get in there, but they're usually at higher levels than I'm ready to play at, like hard and above. And I'm playing with randos, so I'm not even chatting. I'm just like, working with them, and it tells you your objectives on screen. It's like, a Call of Duty or something like it. It's like, all right, now break into the vault. Okay, now you need to get 3 pieces of this machine that you need to like do the next part of the mission, and you're running around and doing the stuff. So you lose a lot in the fact that you're not doing it with your friends or talking while you're doing it. But I can say this, like, if you strip away that aspect of it and like get down to it, I'm not sure that the game's that interesting, and it's fun in a really like just blunt force, shoot a ton and kill everything kind of way. It's got big environments, like big buildings you're running around with like multiple floors and like different areas and rooms, and it's not all even related to the mission. You can find stuff, and like find items and all kinds of stuff like that. But it's a little repetitive is my concern that is making me not that interested to keep playing it, and I want to keep giving it a little more of a try. But really, no matter what mission you pick, the ones I've picked so far, and granted, I've only played maybe 5 hours of the game, maybe 10. It's like pretty much boils down to, here come waves of cops, shoot them all, and in the meantime, try and accomplish some missions. Like, a lot of times you're trying to drill into a vault, so that takes a while, and that builds in like the wave mentality, like a zombie horde type wave mentality, where you're pinned down in an area waiting for your drill to complete its job, and SWAT teams are coming in the windows, they're coming in the doors, they're coming in everywhere, and the cops just go down. They're pretty much like, they're not even bullet sponges, they're the opposite. I'm playing on like normal level, I'm not even at the hard missions yet, but they go down in one hit almost every time. So it's just like waves of cops. I mean, you're committing mass murder within like 1 minute of playing. You're just mowing down armies of cops, and it's like, whatever. Like, that feels a little cheesy to me, that it's like, these enemies don't have like any girth to them. It's like literally just like wave after wave of SWAT team, that are like just it's more like watching all the entrances, and like watching they don't sneak up behind you. And it's probably because I'm not playing on that hard of a level that it feels that way, and probably gets a lot harder once you advance to the higher difficulties, which there are many. And it warns you, like, don't play these until you've upgraded your character and gotten some experience, because you're not going to have the weapons or the knowledge to like really complete the missions. You're just going to be dead weight on the team, getting revived the whole time and not really doing anything. I don't know. Like, I guess I need to play it a little more, and I'm going to try and give it some time or whatever. But unless somebody I know picks up a copy and plays with me, I have a feeling my review is going to be kind of a meh in the end. I mean, it's dated. It looks dated by modern, like other console standards, against Switch. It does not look particularly flashy. It doesn't look terrible. It plays fine. The matchmaking works as well as you'd hope. It's like you can join them, you go on the map and look for a mission that's at the difficulty you want and look for somebody who's recruiting, or you can set up a recruiting zone on a mission and wait for people to join you. It works on Switch. It's like you can do things that one generation on Nintendo ago would have been hard for Nintendo systems to complete. Like, you can set up a mission and start the mission with AI as your partners, but other people can come into the lobby and see your mission in progress. And the missions take long. They often take like 20, 30 minutes, and join your game and come in and replace the AI, and like the game pauses for a second while it loads in. That is kind of a little wonky. It like literally it'll take like 30 seconds for the person to load in, so the game pauses and says like, Matt's joining the game on your screen, and you have to wait, because the whole action freezes while they're joining, so that so nothing gets fucked up in the AI versus the missions or whatever. But right now I'm lukewarm on it. I'm less enthusiastic about that I would hope, because it sounded really fun to me, the idea of doing heists and like kind of bank caper type stuff, or whatever. And I've been trying to convince a few people to pick up copies, but everyone says the same thing. A, it's way cheap on other systems. B, like, I don't know if it's the game for me. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah,
like,
they're gonna play Mafia Town, man. Or I forgot the name of Matt, the name of that meme Mafia game that used to be on PC.
Mafia?
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Good one, Matt. Way to save the show.
Matt, where would I be without that knowledge?
Whoa.
So yeah.
Yeah, I just checked the price. It is not cheap. I couldn't find. Apparently, for once it actually defaulted to the Canadian website, but it says like $63, so that's probably 50 American. That is a lot.
That's if you buy new. I mean, like, you can get it. You can get it on auction for 20 to 30 bucks. I was looking for my friend the other day who was considering getting it. He's one of my friends. He's like, it's kind of game he would enjoy, I think, because he likes Call of Duty type games, and he likes GTA type games, and I could see him enjoying just its kind of relative brainlessness. That it's like, look, I don't have to explain a lot of like hard stuff to you here. Like, get your gun, start shooting.
Loot and steal.
Yeah, loot and steal. I mean, it does have some elements of surprise. Loot and shoot. Yeah. What surprised me about it so far, unless I'm doing something wrong, is ammo is relatively limited, which ends up actually being almost frustrating, because for a game where like you're supposed to be fighting off waves of people, I find myself running out of ammo a lot. And like, how you have to scavenge, of course, like, you kill somebody, go run over their corpse and, apparently grab their ammo. But like, they do not drop a ton of ammo. Like, they drop literally, you'll pick up like 3 bullets, 5 bullets. And you're like, dude, I just put 10 into you, to take you down. You know
it sounds like the opposite of The Last of Us, but damn.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Tons of ammo. Okay. Like, it's that's almost like, that is almost a critique, I'd say, because maybe I'm playing it wrong. And you can do things like upgrade your characters so that like one of the things you can do is carry an ammo bag, and you can drop it. So there's a lot of co-op mentality that it's like, okay, you can choose to be different kinds of characters, like a healer, or a stealth guy or whatever. Like in my character right away, one of my attributes I gave myself, because I was having such a problem with it, was give myself an ammo bag that I can toss on the ground everywhere. And it's got like you can reuse it a couple times, which is good. But still I run out of bullets, and it feels almost, it's not a fun way to make the game harder, is what my reaction to it is. I'm like, I just end up feeling like, Jesus, I'm out of bullets again. Like now I gotta go find some, scavenge some corpses, and run around in the middle of a bullet fight trying to find like 20 bullets and then do it again and again and again, and I'm like, I don't know, like I want to like it, so I'm going to give it more time. That's all I can say for now. So that's Payday 2. If you have like 2 or 3 friends, I could see it being a ton more fun, like out the gate, laying it down together, like kind of a good co-op experience. It runs fine on Switch. I'll say that. It runs fine. So like you don't have to worry that, because it's an online game, it's going to be broken because it's on Nintendo, and they're not good at it. It works, it's is it your thing? I don't know. So that's the report. So I'll keep trying and let you know if my opinion changes.
I'm looking at some videos, and like the concept sounds cool, but it seems like it just hands down to just loot, and then if cops show up, kill them, and like there's no real planning involved, which is like what kind of makes a heist. If you have people coordinate.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like there needs to be coordination.
No. I mean, there are stealth missions, and they say on the menu, it's like you can do this as stealth. So the idea, in theory, like if you were working together, is that you can equip your character in a way that makes them be like stealth friendly, that they won't be picked up right away, they won't be spotted, like that you'll wear like disguises, and like sneak into the bank and start doing the heist, and maybe even complete it Metal Gear style without like setting off alarms. So that sounds interesting. But yeah, I have never been in a mission where anyone's doing that. Like it's literally like either I drop into a mission, or the second the mission starts, I don't know what I'm doing, and somebody just shoots somebody. It's like and the alarms go off, and you're like, okay, now it's just fighting. So yeah, that's on me. And I mean, the thing I'm not reporting on enough here that a lot of people would enjoy is the character development, that you're supposed to, you have skill trees, and the skill trees all come with different attributes and different advantages and different like items you can acquire. And a lot of people get a lot out of that kind of stuff. I don't entirely. I'm not the target market for that, as I would say. Like I kind of find it interesting because you can look at the skill tree and be like, oh, if I upgrade it like 3 times, I'm going to get some weird attribute, and like my one friend said that he played it for like tons of time when it was on Steam. And he had a character that could like hypnotize cops and bring them over to your side, and then they fight on your side, or whatever. So I'm like, that is cool, that idea, but I don't know if I'm going to stick with it long enough to get to that level. That's the problem.
I'm like, good enough to last that long.
Yeah, it's like I said, if I was playing it with a group of people, like every night jumping in and gang rushing, like different, because there's all kinds of different missions. It's like, again, it's great on paper. Like, oh, let's rob a train. Oh, let's rob a skyscraper. Like, let's rob a bank. Let's rob a vault underground. Let's rob a boat. Whatever. It's like, it's cool on paper. But it's I don't know. It hasn't grabbed me so far. So that's it.
Too bad. All right.
Anyway.
Well, I do want to announce, I guess, one thing is the Nintendo Switch Online games that are coming for this month are Kid Icarus and Star Tropics. And I know, apparently Star Tropics is, I don't know if it's a cult classic or what you want to call it, but there's definitely a following behind it. So I guess if you haven't tried it, try it out, because I've heard a lot of people like it. So
it's like I played the hell out of it as a kid. Literally today, I picked up a piece of memorabilia from the original box copy and moved it around in my retro room. But like, it's if you want a game to compare it to, it's a little bit like if you took the overworld map from like a classic RPG like Dragon Quest or something and combined it with like a Legend of Zelda dungeon, like original Legend of Zelda kind of dungeon situation where you go through like mazes underground and earn new items or whatever. It's like one of those lost franchises like from Nintendo that like there's 2 of them and then that's it. There's no more. Like there's Star Tropics 1 and 2. It's classic original Nintendo.
I missed it. Which one are we talking
Tropics.
about? What series?
Star Tropics.
Never
Star
heard of
Trek.
it. Yeah, sounds OG.
It's classic. It's a lot of people like that played original Nintendo like really really have a lot of fondness for it because it was a really cool game, and it's I played it a bunch when I was a kid. But you want to be in the mood for an 8-bit, 8-bit experience, like original. It's really funny. It's got really bad translation. That's something that's very famous about both of them. The translation is like just you can't make this stuff up lame and cheesy funny like that. The characters just say the most ridiculous things to each other, like Metal Gear, I feel asleep, type stuff that you're like, wow, you put like 2 minutes into translating this, didn't you? So there's things that when I was a kid, you just could not figure out what they meant or whatever, or what they were getting at, and when you're an adult, you're like, oh, they just translated it badly.
Yeah, I never get that. Like when it's like, oh, they just translated things wrong. Like, did they never just be like, this doesn't make sense? Like they're just like, yeah, whatever. This is the word. I'm not gonna look at it any further.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to it's a really difficult art pre-internet, and they didn't want to spend the money, and they just gave it to some guy, and he did his best. There's, he's like, and they didn't have any...
I can imagine it's probably one guy, 2 people max.
Yeah.
It's like one guy who speaks their native language well, and then like not the other one. So whether it's like a Japanese guy that doesn't really speak English, or an English guy that doesn't really speak Japanese. And then there's
he's like textbook good, like so he knows the words. Like, oh, I know what that is.
Yeah,
and just like, but he never like really ever used it in the sentence. He's just like one of those guys. Like, yeah, I can read that.
Famously, the hardest part is something that we can all intuitively understand, is that the problem of translating something isn't just the word, it's the meaning. And so I think that's what it is a lot of the time, that they didn't understand the original meaning, so they translated it wrong. They were like, or they're trying to translate a Japanese concept into English, and they just couldn't, because like, again, it's that one guy that doesn't really know what he's doing.
Right, I know. Yeah,
yeah, totally.
Don't worry, Phoenix Wright's coming to the Switch, boys. All right.
Oh, geez, goodie.
Yeah,
I'm already
you can get on it now. And also, why haven't you guys bought Final Fantasy 9 yet? All right, I know you guys didn't buy it. Okay.
I haven't even beaten Final Fantasy
VII.
7.
They even added a fast mode and instant level 99 and infinite money mode for you.
Well, that just sounds boring. If it beat itself, I don't have to pay for it now.
It does. It just sounds so boring instantly. I'm like, oh my god, like that sounds so awful.
You don't have to do that. That's for all the scrubs who can't play 60+ hour 4-disc RPGs.
We'll let it to you to report on it when it comes, and you do your thing with it. So
I mean, I've already been on 4 different systems, but maybe I'll just get mad. I'll buy it and I'll be like, what the hell is this? Why am I level 99 right when I landed? Okay, and get to fight like the very first common enemy tutorial guy. I'll just be level 99 and destroy him. Okay.
So it'll just be like playing Cloud in Smash. Like it's just like I win automatically by swinging my sword. Like this is awesome.
Yeah, Smash 4 Cloud. Yeah.
swing my sword, I win. Swing my sword.
Yeah, you're like,
I win.
Hey guys, I've been really working this out. Hey.
Limit break.
Forward it.
I didn't remember. We're a month away from garbage Persona 5 hero getting in, even though it should have been Narukami from Persona 4. But yeah, it's close, guys. The next patch, man, real close. They gave all that info as a direct. You know what I mean? It just said
so much info.
Yeah, it's so much. I was like,
we can't even touch on it.
I couldn't even comprehend so much information. Here's all I can remember from it was just that patch 3.0 and Joker's coming out in April. That's all I can remember out of it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I have to look at this Joker character and watch a video of gameplay with him or something like that.
No, there is none.
Yeah, there's literally.
Is he?
No, they're just it's still coming really and other stuff, and that's it.
No, I mean his original game,
it's an RPG, so you're not gonna see anything really.
I know. I'll fall asleep, but at least I'll watch.
Yeah. Persona is an RPG series, but it also what makes it cool is it has some real life simulation in it. So you could be like, oh, you're in school and you'd have to take tests and shit, and then basically the beginning of the day, and every choice you do affects a relationship and your stats kind of thing. So
okay.
Yeah, that's the simplest way I could ever
I just want to get familiar with the character a little bit since he's coming to Smash. That it's I have no idea who you are.
Well,
there's some rumors that there's supposed to be a Persona 5 port.
Oh, right.
No,
That's
I rather
there's-
have Persona
like
4.
for Switch.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know
But
if
yeah,
it's
Matt,
happening
I
yet.
was gonna say was somebody leaked so somebody data mined Smash, and they said they gave out all the stats for Piranha, and it also had Joker's things, but it also had a third character. So like the rumor right now from that character is supposed to be the Dragon Quest hero. So I wonder if they're gonna announce that in April. We'll see, but. Like all the data is in the game for the character, and it is out. So like the person was like, "Oh, Piranha Plant's gonna be a heavy, Joker's gonna be a light character," like stuff like that. And they were right about Piranha. So I mean, we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
I hope it's not Dragon Quest, man. I hope not. I can't take any more
I hope
me not getting characters I want.
I
Can't
know.
take it no more.
No more sword characters. Stop it.
Yeah, I
I
know,
know.
right? Like, Sakurai, like, just make a different game. You could make a game with sword characters only. It's
Make a Muso
fine.
game if you really want to.
Yeah, right? Like, come on, dude.
Make Fire Emblem Warriors 2. There you go. You got your
Yeah,
Fire
yeah,
Emblem
yeah.
characters. You
Or,
got your
Fire
sword
Emblem
characters.
Battle Royale.
Yeah. Actually, that sounds cool to have like a battle royale where it's like all melee
Yeah, with
combat
swords. Yeah,
instead of
that does sound
stupid
pretty
guns.
dope.
Yeah, like an actual war. But
Well, one of us will work on it, or somebody will steal the $1 million
Yeah.
idea.
free idea for you. Get to work.
yeah. There you go, guys. There you go.
But there's some other news this week. They finally decided to show off Pokemon, which they didn't show off in their direct because Pokemon likes to do things
Yes!
separately. And
Clay is
I
so
didn't-
excited.
yeah, I didn't think it was too far off. Like when they showed it the direct, I'm like, okay, well, it's not in here, but they're probably going to show it like a week or something later. And I forget the exact
It's
timing,
coming out.
but yeah, it was.
It's coming out this October, November. Like every Pokemon's been out October,
Yeah.
November for the last few years. So, it's gonna be close to ready. I know people were like trying to do graphic compares between Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee versus the Sword and Shield.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I mean, it has a more cartoony vibe, right? Instead of that glossy Let's Go Pikachu vibe.
Yeah,
Like
it's
looks cool. I mean, I don't know, Matt. What do you want to talk about it? For me, I've given up on Pokemon. I've given up. That's it. I can't do it no more. Unless there's like a Pokemon Gale of Darkness kind of game coming out, I'm done.
as like with any Pokemon game, I want it yesterday because I'm just a slave to monsters and numbers.
All right, well, at
I'm
least
just
you
like, you
admit it,
change the
right?
monsters and I'll come over. It's literally that simple. Like I don't.
You're
They're all
you're
basically
a
the
slave.
same, but I'll do it anyway.
You're a slave to the
Hey,
game,
they-
like the little Pokemon are slaves to you.
Exactly.
Little monster slaves.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
Slavery
Matt,
going
this
all
is your
around.
first home console Pokemon ever, so I mean.
Yeah, that
know?
too. It doesn't.
I mean, not counting Coliseum and all that
Yeah.
other like the not real Pokemon. This is the first mainline Pokemon game on it, so I mean that's pretty hype in itself.
It is.
Like,
So
yeah.
far, nothing really shows that like they're really pushing anything in that sense. But I mean, to be fair, they didn't show a whole lot in that aspect. So I guess we'll have to
Right.
wait and see. But I don't know if you're
What
going to
do
say
you-
anything, Unoclay.
You think every Pokemon's gonna be in it then, like 800 plus, or is it gonna be new region and then like the old Gen 1 thing? Like, they keep
I think
going.
it's going to be like X and Y, where you'll have a mix of like all the gens, and they kind of showed that in the trailer as well, which I think honestly is a good idea going forward with Pokemon, because especially if they're going to have games and not put in 100 new Pokemon and they're only going to put like 60 or 70, it would be there wouldn't
Yeah,
be a
you
whole
can't
lot.
you can't add 150 plus 150 in another. You can't do that. Like I agree with that because some people like look at you like remember in XY, was it XY or and one of them when he wanted to collect them all and they had the Pokebank idea like.
No, sorry, I thought you were going to say something else. Yeah, I don't know. So I hope there's more new Pokemon than the other ones, but I'm not going to hold out because.
Oh no, I was gonna say I got cut
Oh,
off.
sorry.
I was gonna say, yeah, looking at Eli, remember with the Pokemon Bank and all that, like
Mhm.
how he had to try to collect every single one, and
Yeah.
there's so many. Like, it's at a point where you're gonna get overwhelmed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm glad it's like, hey, here's all the new ones, and then like here's a mix cross generations. Like it doesn't. It's probably usually the most popular from each gen, but
Yeah. I also like it because it still adds like variety. Because like, oh, I haven't used this other Pokemon in forever or see them in forever, so
That's true.
it still
Yeah,
feels
and you're
like new, even though I know them. It's like, oh right, I like this Pokemon. Sure, I'll use it again. Why not?
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Unoclay, yeah, I think you were gonna say
And
something. Mike.
Yeah. No. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, like, when I watched the video, like, I didn't love that graphical style. Like, it was kind of like it looked a little corny to me. I was just curious, like, how you felt about it as a hardcore fan. Mike, could you mute that?
Yeah, just gonna say.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah,
Hey, Mike.
I'll mute
There
it
you
for now.
All right. I didn't know you could do that. You fail. Yeah, how did you feel about the art style? Like, because when I looked at it, it was like I like watched the video. That's all. I'm not as the listeners, long-time listeners know, I'm not a hardcore Pokemon fan. I'm not somebody who's like into it at all. In fact, I like the music a lot, but it's just not a game that ever caught me. It's got to catch me. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't caught them all. Not this guy. Yeah, like the video, like the art style to me just seemed a little kiddie as an outsider. Like when I looked at it, but that's probably because, like, to me, I just picture Pokemon looking like a Game Boy screen. You know, like I picture red and yellow, like kind of graphics or whatever, because that's, if I was ever going to play it, the ones I'm most familiar with, I'd probably start there. And then it's like when I look at these like modern takes on it, I don't know. What did you think? I'm talking too much about it. What did you think of the art style as a huge super fan?
I like it, but at the same time, it also kind of seems like the 3DS games, but with more detail. So people have 3DS emulators, and they can run the games in 4K, and you can see what it would like actually look like if the hardware could actually run it properly.
Okay.
And I mean, this is definitely better. Like the lighting is better. They add a lot more details, and the textures are better and things like that. But it still seems fairly similar. It doesn't. They're not really like pushing the envelope here. There are some unique things I like. Like I said, the details, and there's like a really cool forest section in the caves. Just all these other, I guess, minor things that add to it as well. But it's not like crazy blowing me out of the water. It's more like it's the 3DS games, but it's better. And that's about
I was gonna say, is there anything you hope for it though, like to be added, like, you know, maybe a gameplay thing, or, you know, one thing to be added that hasn't been shown?
I don't know. I kind of want to see something, I guess, added to the battle system to some extent. I don't know what, and I don't really have any ideas on what, but some are saying.
Well, like, I mean, you know, that's a hard question. That's like, hey, could you expand this game? But, you know, like something more than like the Z moves, right?
Yeah, I don't really care for like the Z moves. They seem kind of pointless. I would like them to at least bring back alternate region forms. So in Sun and Moon, what they had was they brought back Kanto Pokemon, like Gen 1 Pokemon, but rather than just bring them back as is, they're like, we're going to change it as if these Pokemon grew up in like a different region to kind of simulate reality.
Yeah, it affected their genes and stuff.
Yeah, so like their types change, and like their moves and how they look change. And I thought that was actually
Clay, like in Smash,
the best way to revamp.
Executor in Smash, Clay, when he comes out and he's that giant tree thing, that's actually from Sun Moon, even though he's a Gen 1 Pokemon. Like, yeah. So it's like,
I want to
see
something intelligent here.
Okay.
But I don't know what.
Yeah.
That made sense, and I agree with you.
Of course.
Language. Yeah, I know all about what you mean by those words you said.
All right, can we go to the big news before I have to disappear from my thing? Because I'm gonna cry when we mention it.
Matt, we can. I know Mike has to get off, so we can come back to Pokemon. Sure. So we can do a news sandwich this week. How about that?
Yeah, I like that.
So
All right.
yeah, we'll jump over to the next big piece that's happened this week, which was Reggie decide to retire from Nintendo after
He got
15 years of
blackmailed.
working there.
My body is so sad.
My body wasn't ready for this.
Not ready for this. I'm not ready for this.
Yeah, dude, someone's got to be blackmailing him. That Doug Bowser guy. Got my eyes on him.
He's got dirt
I
on him.
know. I mean, there's so many jokes. I like sat and laughed at my computer for 10 minutes at Bowser takes over the company. I was like, this headline writes itself. It's the greatest thing ever. I mean, come on. If only his middle name was like Tingle, like Bowser Tingle.
Oh gosh, man, come on! The guy, he wanted to have a life. Okay, you would.
Oh my God!
Look,
It's just
before
the
I
greatest.
get a dip, but I want to say one thing. Like, I mean, I didn't really, like, it's funny. Like, presidents now and like CEOs of video game companies, they're known now. Like, wasn't Kaz of Sony also hilarious? But like, I don't know, something about Reggie. He cared, like that was the cool thing. Like, he was one of the first guys who was like, yo, I care about my company, and it was a game company. You know what I mean? Like, he was open to it. And I mean, I met him. He's an amazing guy. And just, what he did for Nintendo, just like as himself with his personality, not even sales wise, was awesome. All right. Like, it was like, that's like not even like aptly describing it. So it's rough. Like, it's actually pretty sad. Like, it's like seeing a legend like retire in a sports, like in a sports setting. Like when Derek Jeter retired from the Yankees, like when you think Nintendo, you think Reggie. Like, especially if you're American.
Nintendo, you think Derek Jeter.
Yeah, you think Derek Jeter playing number 2, the shortstop. No, wait, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like, past Mario, past Zelda, like something I always relate to Nintendo is Reggie. You know what I mean? And like when people have fun, lighthearted fun at Nintendo, it goes back to Reggie. You know what I mean? So, like, to lose someone like that, it sucks. He said he was retiring for health reasons or family reasons, or
He said he was just doing it because for family, I guess.
Yeah. So I mean, cheers on to Reggie, man. But solid thank you for all the awesome times. Like Nintendo was always like, oh, they're gonna go down, but they held strong, and he's a great guy. Like, honestly, he used to be. He made the Brooklyn. He made the New Yorker at Pizza Hut before he was in Nintendo. So and he was there for the bads and he was there for the good. So glad he hired a guy he could trust. You know what I mean? If Reggie didn't pick out this guy, then I'd be like, oh, who is this? But instead Reggie said he picked him out, and shout out to Reggie for everything he did.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I agree. He's a legend. He is. It's hard to believe, like you said. But I mean, being at that level of running a company, that's insane. That job eats you alive.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's
Like,
assume that he's leaving in case he doesn't. Oh, okay, he did.
goodbye,
leave.
Mike. Yeah, goodbye, Mike.
Sorry,
Yeah, like I have to say, I was shocked, but at the same time, as someone who doesn't entirely love my day job and knows, and I'm not even at an executive level, and knowing how much it takes out of you,
Mhm.
I just can't even imagine like doing the CEO job for like any amount of time and being happy. I'm not built for that,
And for a CEO, he left like I guess relatively early. I think he's like 57 or something.
Yeah, he's really young. Yeah, relatively speaking. Yeah, he is. It's just crazy. I'm just like, I can't imagine it because I know what people at like mid-level management go through for their day jobs, like 50, 60 hours a week, is like expected, like kind of level of work. And like just the idea, it's really good also to go out on top. I think anybody can see that, and Nintendo was at a dark place 2 years ago with a lot of trouble on the horizon, really got to pull this out. And now he's sat in the wheelhouse for, a solid year, almost 2, at the helm, like running it, and being like totally in charge of the USA division, and totally probably working like every waking minute of his days, for Nintendo. And he's just like, okay, I got us here. I am also very, very rich. I am now going to take my CEO salary and go to a beach for a long time. Like,
Yeah.
You know, so I don't have any. I'm not the right person to even think about it, because I would never be good at doing a CEO job. I would lose my mind after 1 month, you know, where it was like, of the idea of like that I'm supposed to like work all the time. I would kill myself, you know. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's man, it is a weird thing. I can't wait to get to know this Mr. Bowser, the king,
Yeah.
the King Koopa. I
Yeah.
can't wait to get to know him.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
what is gonna happen? No more Mario games. First order of business.
Yeah.
Like, Bowser gets totally buff for Smash. Like, definitely top tier from now on. Like, no question. You know. So it's just great. I just find it really amusing. But also, I mean, did he give a date? Do we know when he's dropping out? Like,
It's like
when
April something or other.
that soon? Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, that is crazy.
I don't know if you
I,
saw they made a little video of it too, like saying all of his times and whatnot. It was
I
cool.
don't know that I did. I don't know that I did. I'll have to take a look
I'll
at it.
send it to you.
I'll load it up. I'll load it up for like later watching or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. So, right, I'm putting into the browser. Reggie retiring. Oh, you already did.
Yeah.
You're so all over it. Nice,
Yeah.
nice,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, but anyway,
Yeah.
did you have any thoughts on it? I mean, it's the big other news of the week. You know, Pokemon, and then this.
Yeah.
It's like an up and down week. You know.
Yeah, it's sad, but I mean, it's gonna happen at some point, and it's better that, like you said, leave on a high note, and you know, especially not for some sort of health reasons or whatever, which is, you know,
Oh, yeah.
even more sad.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it'll be a different change because he was there, like I said, for 15 years. And the cool thing about him is that, so when it comes to CEOs, it's very easy for someone to just make like a script, and you know, you follow that script, and you know, even if you have like this sort of, someone can make a facade for like a company leader. I don't even know how I want to phrase this. Like, I guess you could say to some extent, someone could make Reggie who he is by like making scripts or planning it out to some extent. Like, for I don't even know how to put it. You could fake it. You could,
yeah,
like,
right.
there's CEOs where you could just fake their personality and someone like makes that up just so the company looks good. But it's different when someone actually, like, that's actually part of them. And you can tell it was with Reggie, because like, how many CEOs embarrass themselves for the sake of the company? Like, he went to a Smash tournament, got his ass kicked at Smash, you know, just for the fun of it, and you know, just for the community, and like all of the Nintendo Direct videos and like the Yokai Watch ads where he's just making himself look completely stupid, and like the Robot Chicken sketches and the Meg 64 like Robo Reggie stuff. Like, you're not going to get like most CEOs to go away, like actually do that sort of stuff. They'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. Hire some other scrub to do that. But
definitely.
he was definitely a part of it, and I think that really shows that he was honest with all the stuff that he does.
Yeah.
Because like, you're not going to come across those type of people in companies.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could say, well, it's a video game company, so you can, you know, have fun and play around with it. But at the end of the day, it's still a company, and like, you could easily go away without doing that. There's no, like, you'd be fine not doing it, but they did it anyway because, you know, they have fun with it, and that's just a part of them. So
I totally agree with what you're saying. He's genuine, and you can sense it, or at the very least, he knew how to. I mean, there is something worth remembering here. Not to be a total cynic, because I agree with what you're saying. I'm just to play the skeptic, to play the negative Nancy. You know, the art of acting is making people think you're someone you're not. And we all know all the stories of famous actors and actresses that are like, kind of assholes in real life, but it doesn't change that you love their movies, that you're like, oh, you're really personable in the movies or whatever. It's just like when the cameras turn off, it's like, oh, what a dick that guy is actually in real life. I think probably being a successful executive has some elements of that, but I totally agree. I think Reggie seems like someone who is like funny and weird, and sometimes too weird, like that. I'm like you said, like making an ass out of yourself. And I'm like, I don't know if I get you entirely. Like, I'm like, but then again, I guess some people could say that about me. And I'd say, well, if you don't think I know I'm kind of an idiot, like doing weird stuff, like, then you don't know me very well. Like, that's part of my deal, and it's like, that's me being me, dude, so like, whatever. And I'm sure Reggie just feels the same way. It's just like, hey, no, I've gotten somewhere here. Maybe you missed it, but I'm in charge, so I can act however I want, and I like acting silly. So there, so that's that. So
it's hard to come across those. Yeah, it's hard to come across those type of people. So it'll be hard to see what this new guy does. It was cool that.
Go ahead.
I think it's cool that Jeff Keighley for the Game Awards got all the 3 console CEOs to come across, and it's like, man, you did that at literally the perfect time.
Yeah.
Because now Reggie's
for sure.
gone, and well, I mean, Phil Spencer is still there, but
no, that's true. Yeah, like that. You had a moment where you had like a legendary CEO from Nintendo, like like one of the top guys from modern memory from Nintendo on stage. A good timing, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking maybe they made it a condition for him to be a Smash Brothers character in the next release. He has to retire. They can't start putting the workers into the game until you retire. So it's like, all right, Reggie, you're up. You're on deck. You're DLC 5, but you got to quit. Everybody been asking for you. Everybody says their body's ready. It's a meme, dude. You can be in the game, but you and Miyamoto, you both got to retire. Then you're in the game. I'm glad Mike's not here to say like something nasty about Miyamoto. So. but yeah, that's
that too. He's Iwata's gone. Reggie's gone. Now there's only Miyamoto left. Well, I mean, there's like a ton of other people, but like out of.
What do you mean Iwata's gone? What do you mean by that statement? What do you mean? What do you mean?
He's dead.
Oh, Iwata. Oh my god, I thought you meant Sakurai. I was blanking. Like, sorry. No. Yeah, I was like
there's obviously other big.
Like, yeah.
There's obviously other big Nintendo people, but I just keep thinking of like the E3 image of Iwata, Miyamoto, and Reggie there. It's like, man, there's the three big. Sorry.
Just
3 big heads.
Brain fart. You said that I pictured the wrong person. I was like, Sakurai is very much still there. Like maybe you didn't notice or anything, but yeah, he's still working. I was like, well, I literally got scared that like they'd announced it or something like a while ago, and I missed it because I haven't been on the show. And I was like, wait, Sakurai retired? Like did he do it? Did he say like that was it? Smash 4.8 was like the end. Like he was like, no, I'm out. But yeah. So anyway, yeah, back to Pokemon, man. You really wanted to talk about it, and I really want to hear your thoughts on it. Like you guys touched on something I want to know about a little bit. Like so, because like now, is it true that not every mainline Pokemon game has every Pokemon in it? Is that a fact?
Correct.
I didn't know if I knew that.
Most of the times, what would happen is when you play through it normally, you have just the new ones, and then after you beat the game, the Elite Four, then you'll like unlock some older gen Pokemon around the region somewhere. Usually it's just specifically pulled from one. But I think it started with X and Y, the 3DS games, where like you would have Pokemon from all, pretty much all generations, like sprinkled throughout the game, because like they had fewer new Pokemon, so it was kind of a way to round it out. Which I like that because it's cool to see older Pokemon like you wouldn't have thought of using, or it's been so long. Even if I would prefer new ones, it's at least a better compromise than just here's fewer Pokemon, but you're going to see them more often, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. All right. So that said, like, so you as a player, or most players, I take it, don't go into it expecting the next one to always have like whatever, all of them. You kind of go into it like that's part of the surprise. Like they're probably going to give us a bunch of new ones, but it also might mean that like some of your favorites disappear. So like, are there Pokemon that you or the community, other than Pikachu? I mean, I know, Pikachu, but like that you expect and that they might or might not include, or that you hope for. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the roster? What's the emotions toward the roster? Like for Smash, it's such a big point of concern. That now we're totally spoiled, and no matter what they do next is going to be a disappointment to a lot of people, because there's no way the next Smash is going to have all these characters, and it's going to be a smaller roster, or it's going to be a different roster at the very least. And for Pokemon, they're building themselves an unenviable task with the way they've taken Smash to the next level now. Like, what's the deal with Pokemon? Like, are there ones where you guys are going to freak out? You're like, oh, dude, they dropped Chandelure or whatever. It's like that kind of thing.
No, I don't think it's that big of a deal, because like online play's been in Pokemon games since like the DS, so you can always just trade for another one.
Wait. So
like there's other ways to get Pokemon. You can get Pokemon from other generations and trade up. Or now that we've had Pokemon Bank for a while, some of those like people will farm and then put in their bank and then just transfer it to whatever the latest game is anyway, and breed them so there's more, and then they just start trading them off. So usually find a way to get them.
So the new game has programming in it to accommodate every Pokemon ever, even if they're not in the game. I guess that doesn't even make sense to me. I'm like trying to compute what you mean by that.
So what I mean is, when you play a Pokemon game, not all Pokemon in existence are going to be in the wild. So like when you go in the grass or the water or whatever, where you play. But like there's data in the game where if you trade over a Pokemon from either the bank or some other game somehow, you'll still be able to use them.
So this is funny, because
they always have data to have like all of them, but it doesn't necessarily mean you can find them in the wild.
So they literally, so that's funny, because like it's almost like we're splitting terms here, because to me that means they are all in the game, because they have to have graphical assets and programming and like logic to accommodate those guys. You're just saying this is like the difference. Like if we could continue a Smash analogy, which is probably an inept, but it would be like the next Smash, you can only
so the difference is like
go
with
ahead.
Smash is like all of the characters are in now versus actually maybe I don't know how to explain it with Smash.
I mean, like what it sounds like you're saying is like it would be like if Smash there was no way to unlock every character, but if you've played previous Smashes, you could just like bring them into the game somehow. Like you could like upload them from your former game, and so basically all the characters are in the game. They're just not like natively available to you unless you've done the background work like previously. That's insane. Like, I mean, I know it's a lot less, quote unquote. I mean, like a character in Smash versus a character in Pokemon, I intuitively know is a lot less programming, because it's really like a couple graphical assets for Pokemon. Where since it's not a real fighting game, it's completely different. It's math. It's more like math of like how they're going to work in the game and like their stats or whatever. That's a lot less programming than Smash, like for like a 3D actual fighting experience, like where the character has to interact correctly with the environments and stuff like that. It's different. I know Pokemon works differently, but that's still insane, because you're telling me they have to program graphical assets and the math and the game and the meta for literally hundreds and hundreds of characters.
So the thing is, yes, but they reuse a lot of assets. So I didn't even know this. The Cartoon Gamer, a YouTuber, said this to me. Like I did a Pokemon like podcast or whatever, like a one-off thing, and I brought up like, man, they're gonna have 1,000.
You whore.
I'm like, man, they're gonna have 1,000 Pokemon. That's gonna be bloody insane. And he brought up, actually, they've even reused Pokemon animations from like Pokemon Stadium before. For games. So,
oh my gosh.
So with this, like they made all the Pokemon 3D in like X and Y or whatever, and was it X and Y or Sun and Moon? I forget which one, but basically when they made
the ones up to that point.
Yeah, basically when they made the 3D models, they made them so they could work up to like basically 4K, or at least in the the emulators you
Theoretically.
can run them at 4K.
Right.
So
right.
they're basically good to be reused for the next for the next while.
That's amazing.
So like all the
Okay,
animations are carried over, all the
So
the
you're saying like
models and
600,
things.
600 of them already are all ready to go in a way, like they're
Yeah.
like ready to be like ready to upload and maybe
Yeah.
touch them up a little bit or whatever, but more or less drop them in the game. Like that explains a lot. Because like
yeah, so they're not remaking all the models with each new game.
that explains a
Which-
lot. Like that you
which
guys
is-
tolerate that. First of all, that explains a lot. Like I'm like oh, because like me and my feelings towards Smash. Let's call it 4.6.
Yeah.
Like at this point, that I'm like, well, what's my attraction here? If you're just sort of making the same game again, like,
Well,
what-
the difference between Pokemon and Smash is with Smash, the way your moves work and all the animations
Right.
actually make a difference. With Pokemon,
Right.
it's like the animations are just to look nice.
just pictures.
And you can actually turn them off if you either don't like it or you're farming for something, and it just makes that process a lot longer.
You just want to move it along, right?
And like the 3D models look fine. Like unless they're going to go for a different art style where it requires them to change like textures for some reason.
Right.
Like they look completely fine. There's no reason to like remodel them. They're not like blocky or anything. And the lighting in the game itself will change it to some extent.
Okay.
So it's not like, I don't think that's a big of a deal. Some fans, oddly enough, think it is. I don't know why. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, do you really expect them to remake 800 plus Pokemon each game? Like, that's insane. The team
Have
is
you met
only like
gamers?
80. Yeah. There's
Have you
only
met
like,
gamers?
I think it was like with X and Y, they only had like 60 people on the team. And then they're like, yeah, we
What?
finally buffed it up to like 80. It's like, this game series sells like 10 million plus copies.
Yeah.
And they
what
have
the
like,
heck?
relatively speaking, for a AAA game, don't have
Yeah.
a lot of people. Like, I'm pretty sure every Assassin's Creed game has like 100 plus people or something.
Oh, yeah.
On it.
Yeah.
And
The
this
menu
makes
scroll-
more
the menu
money than
scroll for
that.
any game.
And,
Yeah,
like, they have
the menu
fewer,
scroll for
so-
any game is hundreds of people these days. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, even indie games have like 30, 40 people in the scroll. Like, oh man,
Yeah, so it's
that's wild.
that like definitely explains why as well. But I mean, I don't really think there's a need to. Like, the models look fine. There's not really much you can update them other than like maybe use like new animations or something. But
Right. Yeah, I was just curious about that. Well, that's cool. Like, what else stood out to you about this? Like, do you like the theme, the sword and the shield? Like, is that like new theme like appealing to you? Like, do you have any questions about it that you're wondering about, or like, in general? Like, because to me, it's like I know they always come in pairs. They are like Sith,
Mhm.
and it's like, okay, like you gotta have 2 or 3, so you guys have to buy it like 3 times in some cases, I guess, or whatever. But
yeah,
how'd you feel about that? It was a corny, cool,
I mean,
like different.
I don't really care about the names anymore because they've like gone off the deep end where it's like, okay, you're just gonna choose like 2 random. I mean, they're not random. They have reasons for them in the game, but I mean, like, it doesn't really matter all that much. Like, once they dropped colors and gems, it's like, okay, you're just gonna do whatever you want. I'll deal with it. I don't really care. But I do like the theme. It is interesting. It's all based around the United Kingdom, so people point out like the map. There's like parts of London and England and like Scotland and all these other United Kingdom areas that I have no expertise to talk about that other people have dissected. I think, yeah, I like it. It adds more to it. There's not, I don't want to say steampunk because that's clearly wrong, but like an industrial revolution sort of settings and whatnot.
I didn't know that they ever base it in anything approaching the real world. I knew it's always
Yeah,
like kind of like a lot of the names are sort of Japanese-ish names of the places, the regions or whatever, but that's all I really know, like as a layperson.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't know that.
that's more of a newer thing. Before they would just, I guess, base it around Japan, or just do whatever the heck they want with it. And I don't think it
Right.
was until Black and White, the 5th generation, this one is the 8th, where they started basing it off of real life, or at least places outside of Japan. So I forget if Black and White was the whole game was based around New York, the state, but there was at least a city that was based off in New York to some extent. I forget if X and Y was anything, but Sun and Moon was based off of like Hawaii and the islands and things like that.
Okay.
So it seems like from now on they're going to base them off of different regions of the world, which I think is cool. It'll add different flares to like the world and probably the Pokemon as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that really. Like that's new news to me, but not surprised. I didn't know something about Pokemon. Go ahead, and we can have a podcast about that anytime you want. Interesting. Okay. I like I mean, like me as an outsider, like I like the idea of sword and shield. I like the duality of it. I don't like that. I suspect it all stems from the like original idea of selling the game twice. That somebody had a brilliant idea. That always kind of grates at me as an outsider because I just, I'm not like in the cult. So it's just like, it always grates at me a little bit. I'm like, this is such a transparent sales move or whatever, like that got to have them both, you know what I mean? But,
I wonder how many people like actually buy both. To be honest, I don't know how big of an audience that actually is. Because the thing is, you've been always like since the whole point of the two versions from the beginning was to facilitate trading between people and like get more people to play. So it's like, ooh, I have this one and you have that one. Let's trade them and talk about it and whatnot. And then once they add it online, it's like you don't really need to do that. But they still have it anyway because it probably does make money.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Okay, that's fair. You're right. I forgot. I did know that little fact that like ostensibly at the very least the idea was using the trading cables with the Game Boy, like that was the reason for the two, and that is a neat idea. And I was a kid with a Game Boy, and there were too few reasons to use the link cable. Like there were, I think the only time I can remember using it was playing Tetris against my friends, like playing two, which was amazing. Like, I mean, it was jaw dropping amazing when we were kids to be able to plug two devices together, much less something as cool as a Game Boy, and have it work, and then, that kind of thing was neat. So I can see that, like that original idea wasn't necessarily a money grab, that it was like, well, we got this technology, let's do this, like we figured out a way to do it. I think I've read stuff about that before too, about the genesis of the idea. So, but I can't quite remember. So,
I mean, I'd still say it's kind of a money grab that it's still going on. They're just like, well, it works, so let's just go with it and we'll probably make more money that way. Because like, there's no way to. The unfortunate thing of Pokemon games, and I'm sure they've kept this up for a reason, is that you can't just make a new save file, even though like technology would allow for it. You would either have to restart your game, which kills all of nukes your file and all your Pokemon, or buy another copy. And if you're going to buy another copy, I guess you might as well buy the other different copy. And then if you have two systems, trade with yourself or whatever. I've never done that because it seems like a waste of money. But I mean, with Pokemon Bank, you can like do that without killing all your Pokemon. And with Switch, you can just make a new profile.
Right.
So you should just be able to do that anyway, which is good because maybe I'll want to play through it again.
Right. So but you'd still have to have the other copy, even with you still, if you want to play that. Like, could you explain? I mean, I don't want this to be like listeners that are like listening to this and know everything about Pokemon think my questions are so noobish. So I don't want you to give me some huge answer. Like, well, I don't know, because I'm like asking such basic things like that are like so obvious to anyone who's played the series or whatever. But I guess like, I kind of lost the thread of what I was going to ask you. Are there substantial gameplay element differences to the different versions? Like if you pick Sword or you pick Shield, like different Pokemon, is it primarily different Pokemon are available, or is it primarily story, or what's the difference? Like in a nutshell, like typically.
It depends on the game because some of them have done it differently, but for the most part, it's just different Pokemon. And then like, that's your reason to trade because that person has Pokemon you don't have access to. Some of them, I think it's Black and White, the first or second ones or whatever, they actually had like a different, not a whole region, but like a different city. So, I have this Black City and you have White Town or something like that. Nice. I don't know how far they're going to take it with this game, but they've done some different things. And I think Ultra Sun and Moon had different like that story was different in and of itself. But I think like each version might have added something different. I don't recall because I didn't play them.
Okay.
But
Okay.
mostly it's really just Pokemon.
Okay. Gotcha. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Like, what else stuck out, or what else are you excited about? Like, tell me, like, what did you want to talk about finally? Because we've been going on about it for a while. So, like, tell me about it. Tell me about the Pokemon game. You're the expert.
I think the starters are like, I like them. They seem a little weird, but that's probably going to happen with all Pokemon starters, honestly. But I like the water lizard guy, probably because it reminds me of Mudkip, and that's like one of my favorite starters. So it seems like a cheap grab on my part. Ooh, you made a Pokemon that looks like another Pokemon I like. We'll see if it changes to something different. Hopefully it does. So it's not just like, hey, it's the exact same thing. But I like that one. There's a fire bunny, which seems pretty cool. Hopefully it doesn't become a monstrosity. The running joke with fire starter Pokemon is that they end up becoming fire and fighting types, and that has happened for like, I don't know, at least like half of the fire starter Pokemon are that typing, and it gets annoying. So hopefully that won't happen. It's just a running joke. Like, oh great, what are you going to do? Like every fire Pokemon is like, great, it has 2 feet on it. It's going to turn into this stupid type again.
I mean, like, as an outsider, the idea that you guys would be surprised by a fire Pokemon evolving into a fire Pokemon, that just sounds like, really, guys, I could tell you that. Like...
No, a fire and a fighting type.
Okay.
It's like you can have 2 types with Pokemon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm lost. Okay, yeah. Never mind. I was like, yeah, that's what's gonna happen. You know, the fire guy turns into the fire guy. It's kind of like, part of the deal, bro.
I'm so surprised.
So shocked.
Yeah.
So shocked.
I think that one's cute. I don't really care for the grass monkey thing. One, because we already have one, so it seems like, why are you even bothering? Like, it's not... I mean, I guess it's different, but it's like, why are you even bothering to do something you already did before? And also, we have like at least a dozen other monkey/primate Pokemon, so it's like, why should I care? Like you're doing something that's
tired.
not even...
You're a little tired of the monkeys. Yeah. Come on. What is this?
We got enough
Kong?
monkeys.
Yeah, come on. What is this? What is this? Cranky Kong up in here now? Good grief.
Yeah,
Good
really.
grief. Okay. All right. Well, that's that inside joke makes a lot of sense to me, and I totally understood it. Ha ha! It was funny. No, what else, man? Like, say you're psyched. You see some starters you're excited about. I know starters are a thing in Pokemon. I get it. I know that's a deal that is important to you guys.
It's our main Pokemon we use. It's like a Smash Brothers fighter. It's like, which ones are we getting? It's kind of like that level of importance.
But the starter thing seems super important because I always hear you guys talk about it like it's a big deal who you start with, which is in Smash, it's like the analogy doesn't work because you can just switch to a different character.
Sure.
It's like, is it you're stuck on your starter for a long time? Is that the deal?
You can't choose another starter once you started. Like without resetting the game or anything, or unless somehow you trade or whatever. But trading you usually can't do until like I think after the game. Well, online.
And a
whatever.
starter is part of your like roster.
Yeah, they're part of your team. Usually they're. So I don't really know a lot about Pokemon statistics, so I'm going to be talking out of my ass and making assumptions. But I'm pretty sure they're like generally more stronger than other Pokemon you find in the wild. So like there's a reason that you want to use them besides the fact that like they're supposed to be your main Pokemon.
Okay.
Especially like further typings. I was gonna say they're better than the other ones, but I don't know fully about that. But I think generally they're better than other Pokemon that you find in the game, which is why it's like important to choose like one you like based off of XYZ.
Okay, gotcha. Nice. Yeah, it's now we're getting into the real like, holy shit, this is a Nintendo podcast, and this guy doesn't know anything about Nintendo like level. Like, so, yeah, so we can move away from that. Anything else? Like, when does it drop? When do these games come out? Did they give us a date?
They did not. I assume it's just going to be November, like it usually is.
Okay, you're thinking this is the big holiday game possibly for this year?
It definitely is. It's just a matter of, is it October or November?
You know what? I'll be playing in October, November. Super Mario Odyssey, the biggest
gosh.
holiday game of the year.
Yeah,
It'll be like,
last year.
I'll be psyched. I'll be like, dudes, you guys are playing this weak ass Pokemon shit, and I'm over here like jamming on like one of the greatest games ever. Have you guys played this? Look at all these moons, dudes. You guys have no idea. Did you know there's costumes in this game?
Man, I hope you avoided some spoilers because there's some cool stuff in that game that
I did. I've almost all of them except for the ones that they like leaked like right away early on, like that were like unavoidable.
Like what?
Well, there's something about a dinosaur, but I don't know too much about it. Yeah, like that one was in like, yeah, I know that was one in a trailer or whatever. So like early on, I knew about that, but don't say anything because that's all I know. Like that's literally, I'm like, so, and I have a pretty bad memory. So by the time I get around to playing, I'll probably forget.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I hate that. I never forget it.
Yeah.
It's I'll try to forget it, and then like I come back, it's like, hey, my nagging brain's like, hey, you remember that? You remember that? You remember that? I'm like, shut up, don't remember this.
That's funny.
I think I saw it in like a thumbnail like not too long before I got it. I'm like, thanks, jerk face.
Yeah, that sucks.
There's like one guy who like purposely tries to spoil things. So I try to block.
That's part of the reason that like I don't ever do anything on the internet other than like very limited because like use of Twitter because.
But it's like it's in like
more than anything
stupid like YouTube sidebar suggestions. It's like,
well, I don't watch a lot of video game stuff. Yeah, see, I don't I live in a media bubble that like is really hard to imagine for a lot of people. I notice all the time. I literally don't interact with stuff a lot, and I'm like, as a result, I am able to stay spoiler free for a lot of things. You know, so it's
nice.
It's
YouTube is my version of cable.
Yeah. Yeah, you and a lot of folks. I mean, I use YouTube a lot, but I don't tend to watch anything about modern games. Like I don't. So not those sidebar spoilers that you're talking about. Yeah, I don't see that stuff. That's interesting. Yeah, that you say that because like I think of Twitter and Facebook as the big spoilers for all you guys or whatever, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. I don't actually have a problem with that really. So. Fun fact, while I'm sitting here, I'm mending some pants. The pockets were ripping on them, and I have now lost a needle and thread, and I am totally scared you're going to hear me stab myself on the air really badly with a needle and thread here that I cannot find no matter where I look. So, yeah, good times. It's an old video game, like needle and thread.
Speaking of stabbing yourself stabbing yourself with a needle, when I was a kid, my mom apparently was like threading something on the couch and I guess didn't realize she lost a thread, and for some reason I was deciding to jump on the couch and my foot landed right on the needle.
Oh my
like,
god, yeah, that's no fun.
I mean, that was
that's
fine.
no fun.
It didn't like go that far or anything, but definitely shocks you.
Yeah, that'll definitely shock you. I'm a little worried that like the needle is now missing and I cannot figure out where I put it, and it's either in the pants somewhere or it's on the floor somewhere here. And like, I have dogs, that really scares me.
Yeah.
They would step on it, but it's like, I'm just hot take. If you hear me scream, you know what happened.
Yeah.
Catch it live on tape. Oh, so, yeah. What else in the news, Matt? We got it all, or we got more to talk?
That's pretty much it. I guess short addendums to Pokemon is the gyms are back, which is good. In the last one, they had something else called Trials, which is so in gyms, you basically just go in and fight a bunch of people until you get to the end and fight like the big boss of that gym. And but with the last one, it was like there were some battles, but it wasn't as much, and you had to do like some other dumb quest, like go over here and collect these things, and it was really tedious and pointless. It's like, this isn't fun. Please get rid of them. And thankfully they don't. They didn't even show it in the trailer. They like put it on their website, like the bottom. It's like, okay.
So they responded correctly, is what you're trying to say, to
Yeah.
the Pokemon community not liking this version or whatever. Okay,
Mhm.
cool.
Mhm.
I'm not always a fan of companies giving in to the fans, but if it was like the new version of gyms or whatever was not as good, then I guess that makes sense. So don't want to play a crappy video game. So
Exactly.
that's cool.
And
Good to
then,
hear.
so because the designs are like based around the UK and all the countries in there, whatever, the designs are reflecting that as well. And the female trainer kind of looks Scottish because she has that like Scottish hat, and a lot of people are making memes out of her, making her like this rowdy Scottish person with a thick accent, and
Yeah.
it's just hilarious. There was a meme of Wreck-It Ralph 2 where Vanellope or whatever meets like all the Disney princesses, and one of the characters from Brave Merida, she's Scottish, and like she's talking, and all the princesses are like, "What is she saying?" Because she has this thick accent, and so someone
It's like my
dubbed
wife every time we watch a movie.
yeah, so someone dubbed that, and now the same person is like dubbing this. And they made someone like wrote a script, and this person dubbed it with like a thick Scottish accent. It's just great. It's gonna be unfortunate when you can't hear that in the game, but it'll always be there.
That's some good memeing out there. Those Pokemon memers. Yeah, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. I like funny things. I'll check it out after we get off the podcast. I like funny stuff.
Who doesn't?
Big hot take. Hot take. I like humor.
Yeah. Big hot take. I like to laugh.
I like a good laugh now and again. Nice. Yeah, man. All right. Well, that seems like it's all the news that's fit to print.
Yeah, I think that about wraps it up this week. I think we've gone on. I think I've gone on long enough as well, so it's probably a good time to wrap up. But yeah, you can find me at the Mango Viking on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and hopefully I will have a video out before the Smash update comes out. We'll see more about that. But yeah, so where can people find you?
My really in-depth, constantly always updating it, internet presence is mostly found on my YouTube channel. I have a couple different ones, but my gaming related one is my Unoclay Gaming, I think it's called, in fact. I have not been posting too much stuff up on there, but there's some old classic retro game videos on there. Check me out. I do reply if you comment, and there's some interesting stuff from older systems on there. And eventually I'll get back to it. I just have a lot of other video projects going on for other stuff not related to video games right now. And that's it. I'm on Twitter, Unoclay_switch. I make pithy remarks occasionally, but
The best kind of remarks.
yeah, I guess it's like my main thing. I'll make a pithy remark here or there. That's really it. So I'm selling it well. Stop by, hear me make a comment once every 3 months about something. I won't bombard you.
All right. So wherever you're listening, you can find us at Just Another Castle on pretty much every platform on the internet. Hit us up with your questions, or if you're interested in being a guest at Just Another Castle, or me directly at the Mango Viking. So until next time, leave luck to the heavens, leave gaming to Nintendo.
If it's no Scottish, it's crap!